We can do better.
Are you, you're not happy with that one, no? Did it feel a bit necky, or?
It was necky, so that was probably a bit of a late one, but it was, that's something else, like it's in play.
Is that
so
sort of,
that's kind of a big thing for me.
I know as a player, you're always wanting to be spot on it, and that feeling when you're absolutely bob on, you're tied up with your golf swing, it's just where you want it, it's lovely. But we're not there very often as players.
No, true.
You're there a lot more than I ever was. But the fact is, the ball moves around the club face, even for really good players like you. So how important is it for you to know where those misses are ahead of actually how good your best shot is?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I've had my driver, everybody comments on my driver, I've had my driver for a long time. And for me, I always feel that if I'm going to miss one, I'd rather it go right than a turn, especially with a driver. And if I neck it, catch it out of the heel, hopefully it's going to cut and it'll go shorter. And in that sense, it's going to go shorter, so it's either going to go not as far into the trouble, or it's going to still be somewhere where I can play it. And I think it's kind of dying out of the game, but it's an underrated sort of stat that if you miss it, if you hit a bad shot and you can still hit your next one, like comfortably, it plays a massive part, especially the tougher the golf course, the better that is.
We're going to give you another go to spank one right down the middle.
Another go off.
Yes, that one's that's gone a long way, Tom.
I much preferred that one.
Goodness me, an absolute flush as well.
Now, one of the things that I remember from when I first played alongside you at the British Masters was the 17th hole, which is a drivable par 4, and you walked onto the tee with a wedge and a driver. And I thought, that's not very confident of her. Maybe she thinks she's going to hit it into the bunker and then wedge out. But you hit down with your wedge and you just teed it up and driver pretty much off the deck, which is something that you're well known for doing. I'm going to get you to hit a couple of them in a minute. Maybe you want to warm up first and hit a few iron shots.
Yeah,
but just talk us through, because you did that for quite a long time,
yeah,
didn't you?
I mean, 1991 was when I started hitting my driver all over the place. I couldn't find a fairway. And it was my brother was caddying for me, and he said, well, you hit your shots into greens off the deck with your driver, so try doing it off the tee. And that's how it started. And literally, I hit it off the deck. Then I started mounding it up a little bit. And sometimes, if the grass is good enough, you know, a mound's higher than a tee. So it was just a mental thing, and it's something that helped me throughout my career. There's no question. Without that, I would have struggled. I'm actually hitting it off a tee now because my confidence is back. So I am hitting off a normal tee, but it's a shot that, if I'm into the wind, I'll sometimes hit off the deck still. Yeah, and off the fairway, it's just such a great shot to have in links golf, isn't it? Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you need to par 5, you need to slide one in, run it out a long way, drive off the deck. It's not an easy shot because the fairways are so tight around links courses, but it's a shot, you know, you shouldn't be scared to hit. Well, we want to see it. Are you happy to go straight into it, or do you want to hit some irons? I'll have a go, I'm ready. You'll go straight in. Let's see it. I'm still marvelled by this every time I see it. Well, I'll hit one off this low. This is a low tee, so that would be about kind of what. That'd be kind of, if I had have mounded it, that's what it would be. Yeah. So you can see it's on these modern day drivers. It's really low in the club face, so it just helps me keep the ball down, and I like to hit the ball left to right. So. And that creates a natural fade, doesn't it? Yeah, it should do. Yeah. And if you, it should really, because it's very difficult to draw it off the deck. You'd always be wanting to hit it left to right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing, you wouldn't have anything different about your swing at all, just because you're hitting it off a lower tee. Okay. Maybe just aim a little bit down the left. Just a little gentle fade. You see, you don't get much height, but on links golf into the wind, for me, that's a perfect tee shot. You don't need to be smashing it high into the wind. Yeah, and because it's not going to spin that much, that means that you said it's not going to be affected by the wind and not going to go offline. And it should, when it lands, it should run out a bit because it hasn't got all that spin on it. And is there anything you do differently in terms of ball position? No, I think if I was hitting it off a high tee, I might have it a little bit more on the inside, but if I'm going to fade it, possibly just a little bit on the outside of my foot, so that by the time you come through the ball, your club face is naturally opened up a little bit anyway. Yeah. Just to help that. It's just a scoring shot, really. That's what I would call that. It's not, it's not an aggressive swing particularly. It's just a nice scoring shot.
Absolutely, but a great one to have in the bag, especially for weeks like this.
Definitely, yeah.
You're renowned for hitting a fade shot off the tee with an economical swing and a relatively weak left-hand grip. But I know through doing my research,
it's very weak left-hand
It used to be the opposite way around. You used to swing long with a strong grip and hit a hook. How did it evolve?
But I think that's how every junior plays, right? I mean, I used to grip it like a baseball bat almost, and, you know, and try to get that slinging hook. It's just Eduardo, my swing coach back in Spain, when he saw, you know, I was big enough, he's like, John, you're obviously much bigger than everybody in your class, in your year, so, you know, how about you just try to keep it straight? And we started working on that, and we started working on, you know, like he used to say, the club pointing to the sky kind of feeling, and it used to be shorter than what it is now. So we know we kind of found a middle spot. But yeah, it was just trying to get me going straight. And over the years, I get used to, you know, I got used to hitting like that, so I get the same distance out of it.
Let's have a look at your setup, first of all, just to this tee peg here, and we'll just discuss how you actually set yourself up to the ball. No ball, that's good. I noticed that your right foot is relatively square, your left foot slightly open. Is that to provide resistance to the turn in the backswing and freedom on the through swing?
No, that's because I was born like that with my right foot. It's rather close. I cannot set up like that.
Okay.
Yeah, if anything, it's a little turned inside to it. So I was born with what's called a club foot, so if I sit like that, I just can't swing. I got very little mobility going that way. So yeah, it is just the way it feels comfortable to me. I think almost everybody has the forward foot open to facilitate going forward, and the back one really depends what you're feeling. Yeah.
I know that you feel a lot of your power comes from your legs rather than your upper body.
Most
Just explain why and what you go through in terms of preparation. I know you do a lot of work on your legs in terms of making them strong, and they are incredibly strong.
Well, Eduardo once told me it's easier to get strength from the bigger muscles in your body. Obviously, my quads, my glutes, my abs, you know, kind of the most important part of the swing. You need to have strong glutes and abs to be able to keep everything together. So that's where I try to get it right. Just power from my hips, and the rest is to stabilize pretty much everything.
Let's have a look at a demonstration of your swing, and just in slow motion, and just take us through what you feel.
So when I go on the backswing, I try to keep all the weight in the inside of the leg. So with the inside of the foot, the inside of the thigh, you know, and then just the glute be feeling activated. I try not to go over that line because I lose my balance a little bit. So I try to wind everything towards the inside of the leg. And that way the glute activates automatically. And then from there, I just push up that leg and just keep it going the other way. It's as simple as that, to be honest, really.
Relatively simple. Let's see one shot then. Let's just see you blast one away, because we love to watch John run. You're going to have to aim down the right-hand side.
Yeah, I'm going to have to aim right. Okay, I don't have a glove on. But yeah, if you see in my swing, I think my right foot sticks planted a lot longer than other players. And that's because of that, right? I kind of explode off of that foot and go sideways rather than forward.
Okay.
So it's that motion that I have. Make sure I'm far enough right.
It is an
little fade you were talking about.
Joy to watch that. Beautifully driven down the left-hand side with that little bit of fade. You're renowned as one of the best ball strikers in the world. I'm going to ask you to smooth one down there for us, because we're all looking forward to seeing you.
I'm under the pump now.
A little bit, yeah, but you can handle that. Driver as well, which is great. Right. So we're going to see the full extent of your power and grace. That kind of makes us jealous, doesn't it? Wow. So, you do have a golf swing which is renowned as one of the most orthodox and correct there is. It starts with a great foundation. You don't build a great golf swing on poor foundations. Talk us through, if you will, and demonstrate for us the key fundamentals of your setup and the things you focus on.
They're very basic fundamentals, and it is actually the complete key to my swing. If I can stand over the ball with some solid posture, a nice grip, you know, all these basic fundamentals, you read about them in every golf book almost that was ever written, and but that works really well for me. That allows me to just swing very naturally and freely. But I actually find it quite difficult to repeatedly stand in that nice posture, so that's something that my coach Brad checks on a lot, and we try and get me to start in this very neutral position for me. You know, I always have had a fair bit of hip tilt, and that's helpful for me. You know, I'm not a player who can stand too straight, even though a lot of people copy my posture by being very straight. For me, the feeling is I actually have quite a lot of hip tilt, and that keeps me over the ball going back, which is
another key thing that we watch out for. So into the good setup, ball very neutral. I try and keep my grip very neutral also. I don't like it getting strong or too weak, but when it gets strong, then everything gets moving a little too much off the ball. So really important, and most golf coaches will tell everyone the basic fundamentals will get you started well.
Let's see one more shot then, and then we'll go a little bit more into the swing. Wow. When it's hit, it stays hit, I think.
A little fade.
A little fade.
We're going to talk to you about driving the golf ball. Now, you've got a bunch of different swings that you can make for driver. We're going to have you hit kind of your normal little fairway finder one, and then we're going to have you kind of ramp it up to see how far you can hit it. When you're thinking about, especially off the tee here, trying to hit it over some of these bunkers, trying to take the trouble out of play, is that the idea?
Yeah, it just kind of depends on the hole, but you know, there's a lot of holes where, you know, if I can take the bunkers out of play, I'm gonna do that, just because, you know, with it being so firm and fast, and the rough is, you know, not as thick because it's brown. You know, being in the rough's not really that penalizing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to play aggressive when I can.
So the target is going to be that kind of radio tower there. Just go ahead and hit your normal, everyday driver swing. So this is just kind of the fairway finder. Get it in play. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
So that one's going to carry. We're going to go ahead and look at the TrackMan data over there. That's going to carry 280.
You know, into the wind.
Huh? Into the wind. And I thought you were working out with Joey D. Come on. That's pretty weird.
Put it on normalized.
It is normalized.
Straight into the fan.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Come on. Let's see if you can really hit one.
I hit my...
So if you were going to try and hit one harder, what are you trying to do?
Nothing. I mean, I'm going to probably move it up in my stance a little bit. I'm going to tee it a little bit higher and swing a little harder.
All right. Let's see it. See if you can break 280. I mean, you're supposed to be pretty long.
Hit this 275.
What do we think?
I don't know.
298. Hit the low little kind of cut back into the breeze for us. So what do you do differently for that one?
I'm going to get a hair closer to it and not swing near as hard.
So to hit it further, swing harder. To hit it shorter, swing.
Well, I'm just going to swing, you know, try to keep my tempo really smooth. I'm going to get a little bit closer to it.
And you feel like getting a little closer to it just helps you get on it a little bit more?
Yeah, and it just, for me, when I scoot in closer, I hit it lower.
There you go.
Don't know exactly why. I just know that that's what happens.
I think that's the one that you'll probably use a lot, especially into the breeze out here, to just try and control it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously anytime into the wind, especially on links golf, I feel like the wind affects the ball a lot more. If you can hit that low kind of roller, it's going to go a lot further than if I hit a normal one up in the air.
All right, we can't have you in here. You haven't hit it over 300 yards yet, so I think everybody wants to see if you can hit it over 300 yards.
Fix the TrackMan.
Come on. We know you can do it. Do we think you can hit it more than 300 yards? Come on.
Straight into the breeze? No,
I know.
Probably not.
You're number one in the world. You're supposed to be able to do this stuff.
Okay.
I think you...
Why don't you hit one?
Nobody wants to see that.
217?
217. But 217's into the wind, so, I mean, I can get a 250.
Yeah. Not right now, you can't.
That's got a chance.
I'm in. Be close. Into the breeze.
There we go. Good stuff. Good luck this week.